I'm Juliet, and this is part 2 of Back Matter, with those extras that you might want to include for a non-fiction book. I'm only including here things I think independent authors might want to use, although there are other things that traditional publishers might include. First up, an afterword. This, like the foreword, is written by someone else and will be named and dated. At the end of the book, there's no problem if this is quite a long piece. There might be appendices. These can include many and various things, such as extra examples and resources for readers. The format will depend upon what the item is, but text is usually just normal paragraphs. If you have endnotes, those will usually come next. These, for our purposes as independent authors, are usually formatted fine by the software we use to create them. If you have a glossary, which is an alphabetical list of technical terms used in the book with a brief definition of each, put that after the endnotes. The format for this can vary. It can be created using indents, so you effectively have 2 columns, or with the term and a paragraph beneath. The latter is probably best if you're creating one that is going to be in an e-book. Otherwise it could end up looking quite unbalanced on a small screen. The term should probably be in bold text or defined in some other obvious way. Then you might have a bibliography, which lists all the reference books, magazines, websites, etc. that you might have used in your research and have been cited in the text. Once again, your software should put this into a format that is acceptable for your book. However, there are a number of different traditional publishing styles that can be used, which are quite complex and very specific. If you want to use one of these specific formats, you will probably have to adjust the settings in your software if you can. Finally, you might want to include an index, which is a reference list to mentions of important things within the text, with page numbers. Now, creating an index is a very complex thing, so be warned if you think this is necessary. It can take you a lot of time, even if you use software to generate it. The general setup is for the main term at the margin, with a list of pages where it's mentioned, and subterms indented with page numbers, and can often be in 2 or 3 columns across a page. Obviously, this format is not going to work well in an e-book, which is another reason to consider this carefully. What you include in a non-fiction book will be highly dependent on the content of your book. If you're doing everything yourself, I'd try to make it as simple as possible. A lot of the formatting for these elements can be quite complex. Consider whether you really need these things, and if you do, whether you need help creating them. If you missed the first video on Back Matter, that's this one here.